Good day, welcome to Business and Finance here on Eco Television International. I am Rachel Tanzi. Now an update from the just concluded MPC meeting where we have the committee raising the MPR by 50 base points. Well, this is lower compared to the previous MPC meeting where we had over 150 base points increase, now making the MPR, the current interest rate, to be at 27.25%. Well, it is the highest in history so far, and we are going to wait and see what this will mean concerning inflation. In as much as we had our headline inflation stable for 2-month period, the NPC committee decided to go on and increase the MPR with a 50 base point. Also, we are seeing that the NPCL is having a massive debt burden where we are seeing it at around 22 trillion naira. Now, a little breakdown of what that means for the NNPCL, the present and the future, what was incurred at the past, and what this means for petrol when it comes to our future as a country. So we are seeing that some of the key subsidiaries with major debts, we are looking at top of the list with Port Harcourt Refinery, where we are seeing it at 1.97 trillion naira. Now the Kaduna Refinery is following with 1.36 trillion naira, and then NNPC Gas Infrastructure is taking 1.86 trillion naira, and the Warri Refinery is going at 1.17 trillion. Now, our debt growth within a period of 1 year, that is the report for 2022 to 2023, we are seeing an increase from 18.4 trillion to 22 trillion, which is the current debt burden for the NNPCL. Now, outstanding crude-backed loans, we are seeing at a Project Gazelle of $3 billion. We're looking at Project Brooks at 81.7 million. We have 2 billion expected to be borrowed by the NNPCL, and then debt to PMS Trader, that is what is expected to be paid. Where we saw it was even a problem to the fuel scarcity that is ongoing, and we had it worse for the month of September. We're looking at 2 weeks to 3 weeks straight. We don't know what will lie ahead for the month of October, but we are seeing this debt between the NNPCL and Trader, the reason, one of the major factor behind the scarcity at $6.8 billion, and then we are having a $53.33 billion naira for oil exploration, which of course we are seeing more discovery concerning oil in the northern part of the country. We have a decommissioning cost of over 466.7 billion naira. This is for 2,003 oil wells over the next 40 years. Also, the NNPCL is considering dumping some oil wells that are not productive or are not building up to capacity to the oil production. And they have an aim of producing 3 million barrels per day, way above the expectation for OPEC, for the country currently, and also the future of Nigeria. So if any oil well is not performing well, the NNPCL is looking at taking it out. Now, the major things we will be looking at on Business and Finance today is the FAAC allocation for the month of August. Now, the Federal Account Allocation Committee has said it disbursed 1.2 trillion and as revenue in August 2024 to the federal government, state and local government councils in Nigeria. Now, the revenue was announced as at this month, September, in Abuja. A statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. Now, the figures represent a decrease of 11% or 155 billion naira from 1.358 trillion naira distributed in the 3 tiers as of July. So we are seeing a 155 billion naira decrease as against what was gotten in the month of July. Now, the revenue comprised a statutory revenue of 186.63 billion naira. We have value-added tax revenue of 533.89 billion, and we have electronic money transfer levy revenue of 15.02 billion naira. and we have an exchange difference revenue of 468.25 billion. Now, from the 1.203 trillion naira total distributable revenue, the federal government received a total sum of 374.93 billion naira, and the state government received a total sum of 422.86 billion naira. The local government councils received a total sum of 306.53 billion naira and a total sum of 99.47 billion naira. This is a 13% of mineral revenue. This was shared for benefiting states as derivation revenue. Now, according to the communique, the gross statutory revenue of 1.22 trillion naira was received for August 2024. This was lower than the sum of 1.39 trillion naira received the previous month. So we're seeing a decline, which automatically say that at the revenue generated, there was a fall left, right, center. And we have the statutory revenue, we have the electronic money transfer levy, and other forms of generating revenue that dropped in the prior month for us to see that decrease in the month of August. However, we are seeing that the allocations for the year 2024 have performed much better than the previous year. We have our external reserves going up, which is a kudos. Despite the naira struggling, we are seeing that our external reserves are doing better. Now let's look at the figures. Now, the Nigeria's external reserve, which represents the country's stock of foreign currency, has reached a 22-month high of $37.31 billion. We've known that in subsequent months, we've seen fluctuation and a lot of rumor concerning what the Central Bank of Nigeria is doing with the reserve, where we've seen it go as low as 34 billion. But we're seeing that when you comprise a whole month of 22, we're looking at almost getting to 2 years, we're seeing that, well, it is performing better, and we can see we have a solid $37.31 billion in our reserves, and it is a significant foreign inflow into Africa's largest economy. However, these have failed to make a real impact on the faltering naira, which was adjudged one of the 10 worst performing currencies in the world. This is a report by Bloomberg. So we have Bloomberg saying that our currency is still the worst performing in the country, among the 10 worst performing globally. Now, the reserve serves as a crucial measure of the national ability to meet international financial obligations and stabilize the local currency, but we are seeing a failure in doing so. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria revealed that as of September 18 precisely, the reserve hit the highest level since November 2024. So we are seeing, yes, a 2 month performance, a 2 years performance rather, when they stood at 37.36 billion. This marks a notable recovery in Nigeria's foreign currency position. On a year-to-date basis, the country reserves surged by 12.99% or 4.29 billion from the $33.02 billion recorded at the start of the year in January. Several factors have contributed to the increase in external reserves. Key sources of the inflows include the federal government, domestic dollar bonds. Now, we saw recently that the federal government have released a $500 million bond. We are seeing that the release of these bonds have contributed significantly to our foreign reserve. Now, this led to attraction of foreign investment, and we have remittance inflow from Nigerian abroad. Yes, we've seen where the Central Bank of Nigeria have recorded a high diaspora remittance. Now, we are seeing it's part of the reason our external reserve is doing great. And we also have multilateral loans from international organizations and foreign portfolio investment. So we're seeing that most of these activities are as a result of activities outside the country rather than activities inside the country. Now, this might sound like good news, but we need more internal activities adding to our external reserves. And since we're seeing that the naira is still not performing well despite certain measures taken by the central bank, we can imagine a scenario where if the naira was gaining some value, then of course our external reserve will be doing much better than what it is doing at the moment. Now, the federal government raised over $900 million from investors through the issuance of the $500 million, the first series of the $2 billion domestic US dollar bond aimed to stabilize the economy. So if we are seeing a quarter of the $2 billion plan for the bond, $500 billion, helping the reserves, then we can't wait to see what the release of the remaining bonds will do to our external reserves. Now, amidst bonds sharing, selling, and all of that, we are seeing that there is a delay in bonds payment, that of the Sukuk bonds and also that from the federal government. Now, we have the Debt Management Office saying that this issue is as a result of a system problem. So it has nothing to do with funds being unavailable or any other factor, just the system delaying or misbehaving issues that could be fixed within a short period of time. Now, the nation was due to pay the first coupon on 2 and 3-year debt it sold in June on September 12th, and according to investor, we have Nigeria raising 4.2 billion naira from the sales. This is a report from Bloomberg. Now, we have the Debt Management Office Director General Patience Oniha attributed the delay to system and process issues that are being addressed. So we have to wait and see. In as much as subscribers are worried, we have an assurance from the Debt Management Office saying we are going to fix this issue. Your money is safe. It is only but a system delay. We have back and forth coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria concerning electronic money levy, rather cybersecurity precisely, or levy on electronic money transfer for your security as a user. So we have cybersecurity levy gone. It started at 0.5%. Then we had a lot of uproar from Nigerians saying that we are overburdened by tax. Are we going to focus on inflation? Are we going to deal with the devalued currency? Are we going to talk about the fuel pump price? Are we going to talk about other taxes? And now we are seeing the central bank trying to come up with a cybersecurity levy and getting negative backlashes, of course, from the public and also some members of the House of Representatives saying that no, this is not acceptable at a time like this. We have back and forth saying that, you know what, we are going to leave it. That is the Central Bank of Nigeria saying, okay, we will introduce it, but then rather than 0.5%, it's going to be 0.05%. And Nigerians are saying, you know what, this is still high. There is no need for such levy. And currently, as it stands, the Central Bank of Nigeria is saying no more cyber security levy, no more 0.5%, either 0.05%, none of it is going to stand. Now, the clarification was contained in its monetary, credit, foreign trade, and exchange policy guideline for the fiscal years of 2024 to 2025 circular. Because if it was accepted, it would have been implemented in the following year of 2025. And if it's not going to be accepted, it doesn't stand now, we are not going to see any cyber security levy being imposed on every transaction. However, this could be reviewed, and if it's going to be reviewed, that will be in the year 2025, which will be implemented for the year 2026. But as it stands now, no cyber security levy. So Nigerians have to take a chill pill concerning that. No worries, you won't have money deducted anytime you carry a transaction online, or be it with your USSD code. Any transfer electronic will not carry any levy or any extra cost to a customer. federal government agencies are seeing an increase in their revenue, and we are looking at key revenue generating agencies. We are looking at the FIRS, that is the Federal Inland Revenue Service. We're looking at the Nigerian Customs Service. We're looking at Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. We are looking at the Department of Petroleum Resources, which is now the NUPRC. We are looking at these major agencies that we know are in charge of generating revenue for the country. And we are looking at the amount of 291.87 billion, or 89.56% higher than the 325.89 billion that the agency got as collection cost in the corresponding period of 2023. So for the year 2023, we are seeing a massive increase. Now, data released by the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that revenue collection cost of the agencies stood at 78.30 billion naira in January 2024. Now, for February, we're looking at 66.46 billion, and for the month of March, we're looking at 69.54 billion. For the month of April, we're looking at 69.53 billion naira, and for the month of May, 80.51 billion naira. For the month of June, we're looking at 76.64 billion naira. In the month of July, 99.756 billion naira. And for the month of August, we are looking at 81.975 billion naira. Under the current cost of collection arrangement, the FIRS received 4% of non-oil revenues. The NCS received 7% of custom duties and levies, while the NUPRC gets 4% of royalties, rent, and other oil and gas sector revenue. We are seeing that all of these were, of course, through the FAAC, that is the Federation Account Allocation Committee. This is a report for the first 8 months of the year 2024, and we are waiting to see what the remaining 4 months of the year will mean when it comes to the revenue that these agencies are able to generate for the country entirely. We can say kudos to the FIRS, we can say kudos to the Nigerian Custom, we can say kudos to NUPRC, and we are looking forward to a great last quarter of the year 2024. And to our viewer out there, thank you for keeping a date with me today on Business and Finance. Till I come your way next time, goodbye.